We there yet? Yes, there we go. Sound looks good. Light is red. Let go. Hey, Chidri! Oh no, I was not. I was not. You give me too much credit. I was just... I decided last minute that I wanted some tea. So I went and made myself some tea. And here we are. But hey, camera's better. I did fix that. Oh, the profiles. You're right. You're right. Thanks for the reminder. I forgot about them last time. I was so tired. My mind was kind of... Woo. You are absolutely right. Tips. Was it? No, it was in characters. There it is. So, Krauss, Kinzo's first child, leads the family conference as the eldest of the 4 siblings. However, the other siblings suspect that he plans to claim the entire family fortune for himself, and the antagonism between him and the others grows increasingly severe. A real estate investor, he has put a vast amount of money into the development of a resort. However, his results have been harshly criticized. That's it. And I was looking to see where Nanjo is. For a moment I couldn't see him at all, but there he is. Kinzo's attending physician and longtime friend once ran a hospital on Nijima, but turned it over to his son, and now enjoys his old age in peace. Well, as much as, you know, being around Kinzo yelling can be called peace. One of the very few people that Kinzo trusts, now that he is held captive by an unrelenting suspicion of others. Big-hearted by nature, he has maintained a long friendship with Kinzo, unperturbed by his tendency to fly into a rage at the slightest provocation. Yes, the man is a saint. Alright. Alright, Hideyoshi. Take it. What were you gonna say? Further conditions. Oh yeah, I remember now.
条件5。この取り決めはお父さんの遺言上に優先する。後になってこの取り決めが保護になるような遺言が出てきちゃかなわんちゅうこっちゃな。
入念じゃないか。なら質問だが、仮に本当に黄金が見つかった場合、どうするのかね。
それに対する支払いを兄貴が済ませてる以上、俺たちは本当に黄金が出てこようがどうでもいいことさ。俺たちの取り分は先払いってな感じになるわけだからな。
夢があっていいじゃない。この島をリゾート化するつもりなんでしょ。その工事の途中でひょっこり黄金が見つかるかもしれないじゃない。
Eva let out a high-pitched laugh. Krauss watched without even flinching.
条件に7をつけてもらおう。私以外の兄弟が黄金を発見した場合、速やかに私に引き渡すこと。
もちろん保証するわよ。
When she says it like that, I don't believe a single sentence. Sorry, a single syllable of what she's saying. Hey, Zekto, how's it going? Insignificant details.
Your recognition
the others.
honors me.
Oh, hey, Pepe. No, you're never late. You're always welcome and you're always on time to be sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much for the resub. 59 months. Yeah, it's almost... Oh my god, it's almost 5 years. Jeez, the way time flies. Yay. Nezu the late Smith. Yeah, my apologies. As I was saying to Bea earlier, I decided last minute that I wanted some tea. I was ready to kind of start the stream at like 9:05, something like that. I was like, I really want some tea. And so I got myself a nice mug of black tea. It's still really hot, so I will sip on it a bit later on. But yeah, because of the reading, my throat gets really dry. And I do have water, but I feel like tea helped more back when we were doing Little Busters. So I decided to treat myself to it. So apologies, but I'm here. I'm here. And the camera works, so at least there's that. Insignificant details. The others were forcing Krauss to pay money for some non-existent gold. would of course not ensure Krauss's portion if they actually found the gold. Of course. From the beginning, this deal had been nothing more than a threat directed at Krauss. Well, the truth might be different. The probability that Krauss was embezzling his father's assets was extremely high. When at last Kinzo faced death and it came time for the inheritance to be distributed, surely some unpleasant facts would come to light. The situation would likely be a fatal wound to Krauss. They had latched onto that weak point and were threatening their brother under the veil of compromise, trying to wring out a huge sum of money. However, they had let one thing slip their minds. The three of them had forgotten that their oldest sibling, who they couldn't defeat unless they banded together, was a very nimble thinker when it came to being crafty. Okay. Krauss relaxedly let out a gloating laugh as he spoke to Eva, who could not hide her smile, so certain she was of her victory.
とても良い話じゃないか。私もお前たちとの関係が疎遠になっていたことには非常に心を痛めていた。この条件を飲むことによって兄弟間の関係が再び有効なものにできるなら、それはとても嬉しいことだよ。喜んで話に乗らせてもらおうじゃないか。喜べ、ローザ。取引は成立だ。
Rosa's expression dimmed. Prune tea is Umineko tea. I don't know where I would even get prune tea. I don't think I've ever had it. I should look into that. I need to make a note. I'm gonna forget about it. I don't. Let's read this. When her brother started talking like this, the conversation would never change for the better. Of course. Eva was also sensitive enough to realize this. I mean, at least they're not dummies. I'll put it on my list of groceries. Prune tea. There it is. Done. Therefore, even though Krauss had obediently accepted the deal, she was unable to wipe away her feeling of insecurity.
いやに素直ね。兄さんらしくもないわ。
それはひどいじゃないか。私に下心があるというのかね。あるわけもないさ。お前たちと同じだ。
I'm just like all of you. It felt as though only that part was emphasized. The color of Rudolph's face darkened. I have a plan. Just like all of you. Okay. I'm enjoying this. For some reason, this is very amusing. That's what it sounded like to him. That gave him a sense of urgency. Yeah, to me it sounded more like, I'm just as sneaky as you are. You are conniving something, you know, plotting things. I have some aces of my own up my sleeves, and you don't know what they are, so sure. We have better things to make out of prunes here. Yeah, he's referencing alcohol. But it's very strong. I personally don't really enjoy it much. I have tasted it. Where we went for the team building last weekend, they had like some traditional local things, and I tasted it. But it's super strong. Super strong. That gave him a sense of urgency. Trying to bring this near-finished discussion to a conclusion, he rushed to wrap it up.
ならいいんだ。じゃあ兄貴、ここにサインをもらえるか？今の話を書き出した俺たちの誓約書だ。
Oh, really? You already had it drafted and everything? Krauss strikes back, yeah.
人数分ある。同じ内容に全員がサインする。
Rudolph took 4 written contracts out of his breast pocket that had the details of their deal written on them. I mean, that can't really be the full detail because Krauss just added a condition of his own, so that can't possibly be there.
クラウス兄さんの提案した条件7ももちろん今から追記するで。
Okay.
安心したってな。
Mm-hmm.
兄貴、ペン使うか？
Rudolph took a fountain pen out of his breast pocket and offered it to Krauss. Krauss made as if to accept it, but then, with a small laugh, drew back his hand without taking it and spoke.
実は、この取り決めを確かに履行するために、1点だけ修正を提案したい。
When Krauss said that one sentence, All of the siblings felt at the same time as though something annoying was creeping up their backs. You better. I'm sure it is.
ダメよ。もう決まった話よ。黙ってサインを。
エヴァ、何を焦っているんだね。もちろんサインはする。お前たちに黄金の分け前、75億円分を約束する。親父殿の遺産分配の時、きれいさっぱり清算することも約束する。だが、一点だけどうしても譲歩してもらいたい部分があるのだよ。
何の話だよ。どの点が気に入らねえってんだ？
分け前の1割、7億5千万円を即納する点だよ。お前たちの指摘通り、私の財政状況は決して裕福ではない。数々の先行投資によって未来に必ず回収できると保証されながらも、今のこの時点では火の車であることは認めなければならない。つまり、今すぐに動かせる金は全くないということだ。私は無能で詳細の嗅覚も鈍い。
Where is he going with this?
お前たちの言うところの弱り目の私には、7億半も半年で動かせる力はないということだよ。
そんなはずはないでしょ。いい加減なことを言ってこの場をごまかす気？
遺産分配時に全て一括で清算する。1割を即納する条件を削除したまえ。それが私にサインさせるための唯一の条件だ。
クラウス兄さん、この1割はな、あくまでもお兄さんの誠意を測る数字なんやで。本当なら取引の余地もない話や。そこを100歩譲った上で、とりあえず1割の誠意でこの場を丸く収めちゃるっちゅう大サービスなんやで。
If you shouldn't even be making a deal, if you would be better off just letting things proceed as they are, why are you even having this conversation? It's because you feel like you would get something from this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have, like, you know, stressed about it, come up with a plan, come up with this conversation.
そう説明した上で、そこを断るっちゅうんは、互いの信頼関係にちょいと影を落とすんとちゃいますか?
Hideyoshi had a humble expression on his face and had his hands clasped together, but his eyes were not calm at all. Krauss had already seen through the shadow in the depths of those eyes.
お前たちは何を焦っているのかね。それとも何に怯えているのかね。ローザ、私にだけは教えてくれんかね。他の兄弟たちには内緒でこっそりと。
別に私は。
よせよ兄貴。俺たちは兄貴がサインするかしないかしか聞いてない。妙な勘繰りも交渉もなしだ。
ほう、私には交渉の余地もないと。立場が弱いのは私の方で、公平な関係ではないと、そう言いたいのかね。
Shivers began to crawl up Rudolph's back. Ever since he was a child, he had never been able to overcome the height of the wall that separated him from his older brother. And now again he began to feel himself getting sucked in by it, and the long shadow it cast.
取引は公平な関係であるべきじゃないのかね。この取引は私にとっては、弟や妹たちと長いこと失ってきた信頼を取り戻し、兄弟愛を深め合うもの。
To deepen the love. Are you still blaming Kinzo? Oh, I wasn't necessarily blaming him. I don't know if blaming is the right word. It's just, it all just feels so weird to me. Like, why does the family conference even happen? But I guess, I don't know, I had this feeling that it happened because it was somehow initiated by Kinzo and then he was just throwing a tantrum. But I guess it's more like it's the children more who want it. I don't know. Okay, let's see how it goes. Tradition, I suppose. Yeah.
それは私にとって緊急に解決したかった心のしこりだ。
I mean, if he really dislikes it so much, has the power to say there's no family conference this year, right? But he allowed it to happen and then he threw a tantrum, so... He's not super innocent either. But yeah.
それが今日解決できてとても嬉しいと思う。だがお前たちもこの取引を急ぎ締結することがとても嬉しいんじゃないのかね。
Krauss stared at each of the siblings. They avoided his gaze with animal-like instinct. Only Hideyoshi was slow avoiding it. So he was caught in Krauss's gaze.
秀吉兄さん、あなたの会社非常に好調子だそうじゃないですか。トントン拍子で上場を果たし、業績も株価も右肩上がり。実にお羨ましいことです。
うちの人の話は関係ないでしょ。
だが、株主たちに対する還元を怠ったのが悪かった。そして上場した時に足回りを固めきらなかったのもまずかった。気づいた時にはたちの悪い連中に自社株をだいぶ買い集められていたらしいじゃないですか。
なんでそんな話知っとるんや。
秀吉さんと同じですよ。私に融資する人間などいないと裏を取れる程度に、私も秀吉さんの裏を取れるのです。そんな不思議があることはないじゃないですか。
Krauss grinned broadly. In contrast, Hideyoshi's face was turning obviously pale. I like how there's this like wind sound effect, even though they're obviously inside the house, and I guess it's supposed to emphasize the chills that everyone is feeling, but it's a literal wind. I love it. Hideyoshi's company was a fast food chain operating company that he had started from nothing. Through Hideyoshi's management efforts, performance of the business repeatedly rose and magnified, and ultimately it succeeded in becoming a stock-listed company. The greatest advantage of being in the stock holding system is that by selling stock certificates, a large amount of financing can be gained. That amount is far greater than the actual profits from the business. This made it an extremely effective way to gather the massive funds needed to grow his company even further. A typhoon is coming. That is also true, yeah. Smug Krauss. Yeah. However, in exchange for financing the company, the stockholders have certain rights. Namely, the right to observe and guide the company that they have financed in order to raise its profits above their investment. That right is guaranteed to all stockholders, and they sometimes even use it to reorganize ineffectual management. It is the right to prevent the money they have spent financing the company from going to waste by watching the management of the company. However, if they use this right forcibly, they can eject the former management and take over the company. Because the general body of all stockholders has the power to dismiss the management and nominate new management. Ah yes, aristocracy drama, Magical Princess, the video novel. The video novel. Hi Kevin. Yeah, it's not far from what is actually happening. It's actually quite a good summary. How are you doing? That right is exercised on a majority decision by the stockholders. And people who hold more stock get to cast more votes. In other words, if some person or group holds a majority of the stock, they can freely chase out the old management and make the president anyone they would like. If they want, it is even possible for them to make themselves president. Tears of the Kingdom 1, I'm not gonna stream Tears of the Kingdom, we need all Koroks. I'm getting them. I am at 17! I got 17 Korok seeds today, but I will not be streaming Tears of the Kingdom. No. I'm playing it in private, and I think it's good. Like I have had plenty of moments where I have been roaming around in the game, just feeling absolutely dumb, just for the solution to be there right under my nose, and for me to not see it or not think of it because I'm not yet used to all of the mechanics that the game has introduced. Like, why don't I use this thing to do it, right? I kind of like, I'm still set in the old mindset and my mind doesn't immediately come up with solutions. So if I were to stream that, it would be like just a snooze fest. And I don't want to put anyone through it. I think it's better like this. And also this way I just get, for example, to take like a longer lunch break. I've been doing that this week, a 1 hour lunch break on the couch, turn on the game, just walk around a little bit, disconnect from work, eat some sandwiches, do some stuff, and then put it back to sleep and resume work. It's comfy. So that's more or less what I'm gonna be doing with Tears of the Kingdom. Sorry about that. We have been betrayed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it as a betrayal. It's okay. Many companies, in order to prevent their stock from being bought up by malicious people and their position from being threatened, take some kind of defensive measures, such as having their own employees or people close to people close to them buy a lot of stock certificates in order to prevent a hostile group from securing the majority. Let me read that again so that I'm sure I understood. Yeah, okay, I see. So they didn't do that. However, since Hideyoshi's company had only recently become stock listed, they hadn't had the time to strengthen those defensive measures. No, maybe Hideyoshi himself was so engrossed in the management of his company that he hadn't realized the dangers of being stock listed. It's hard to say whether he should be viewed as kind-hearted and skilled as a kind-hearted and skilled manager immersed in management, or a foolish manager who had his feet swept out from under him. I would say it's the latter. If you're responsible for that, then you're responsible. You cannot be with your head in the clouds. Yeah, I'm having quite a lot of fun. It's nice. But in any case, there were people out there who would not let him get away with that naivety unscathed. They rapidly bought up Hideyoshi's company's stock and instantly gained a significant amount of power. They then sent anonymous documents to the stockholders and began to capture the majority. The documents read, "The current management continues to make pointless investments and is ignoring the needs of the stockholders. Let us force the current management to retire, cut the current wasted investments, and let this company be born again, as that gives more back to the stockholders." New Pura opinion? I don't know how to explain it. I started playing it Sunday afternoon and I've been playing like 1-2 hours a day. I just barely left the tutorial area yesterday. I don't know how Pura looks like in this game, if you're asking about the character. So, sorry, I'm not that far along. It is very difficult to make the actual state of a company's management known. They maliciously twisted the figures Hideyoshi had produced from a tiny amount of sleep and a constant concern for his company, and made him lose the trust of his stockholders. Their efforts had almost collected a majority of the stock in the company. At that point, even Hideyoshi noticed and started to buy back the stock, but the stockholders, who realized that the company was undergoing an acquisition maneuver, demanded a ridiculous price for the shares that Hideyoshi was trying to buy back. They continually tortured Hideyoshi, who had no leeway in the negotiation of the price. One of the certainties of capitalism is that value will rise when both parties vie for the same thing. And one of the certainties of democracy is that the majority controls everything. So in the end, whoever manages to buy up the most stock wins. So whoever has the most money wins. If Hideyoshi could obtain a large sum of money at this critical time, he would be able to avoid losing all of that which he had built up. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. He couldn't wait for the division of Kinzo's inheritance, which may not happen for some time.
ルドルフの方も最近は大変だそうじゃないかね。海外は怖いとよく言うが、本当にそうらしいな。アメリカの裁判は極めて感情的に決まる。彼らは外国人に寛大な判決など出しはしない。先方と和解した方が結局は安上がりになると、弁護士に忠告を受けたんじゃないのかね。
Wait, let me read this again. So he's been in a lot of trouble. It's scary overseas. It's really true. American trials are settled quite emotionally. They won't give a generous judgment to a foreigner. Weren't you advised by a lawyer that making a settlement with the other party would be more economical in the end? Okay.
何の話？
まあ仕事上のトラブルさ。大したことじゃない。金で切りのつく話さ。
Kiria quickly recognized what Rudolph's complicated expression meant. Her husband had gotten wrapped up in some kind of trouble without her knowledge and had been suffering alone.
その通りさ。世の中なんだって金で蹴りがつく。失った兄弟の絆だって買い戻せるようにな。
We have to appreciate this line. I love this line.
アメリカは権利侵害などにはうるさい国だ。だが金さえあれば何でも和解できる。資本主義万歳だよ。
Oh, the sarcasm. It's dripping all
和
over
解
the
金は
place.
数百万ドルにも及びそうだとの噂もあるがね。
Rudolph had been building a large amount of wealth with a certain type of niche market. However, a niche is a niche. It's definitely not a sunny job. An American corporate giant was trying to accuse Rudolph's company of violating their rights. For various reasons, it was thought that winning the trial was extremely unlikely, and Rudolph was being pressed to surrender outright. But even so, there was a way to resolve it, with money. If he could only pay that money, though it might be painful, he could still pick himself back up. But if he didn't pay, he'd lose everything. Hey Blood Neko, how's the family doing? Ooh, it's getting very spicy in here. Lots of wind sound effects to express the chills everybody is getting. And Krauss is striking back, basically. You know, it's not the Empire striking back, this time it's Krauss striking back. It's lovely, it's poetic, I love it. I'm struggling with the everlasting dilemma of food or TOTK. Why not both? Both. Get the food, sit in front of the game, and munch while you play. It's what I do. Ah, right. Where was it? He could pick himself back up. Okay, yeah. But if he didn't pay, he'd lose everything. Ah, you mean to buy it? Oh, I'm sorry. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. Basically, that's everyone's motivation. I'm curious what is Rosa's and what kind of situation she is.
ローザは清く正しい妹だ。危険なマネーゲームなどには手を出さない。だが、お人よしな性分が災いしたんじゃないかね。連帯保証人は気安く引き受けるものではないと思うがね。
それはクラウス兄さんとは関係ない。
I mean, he could also make the argument that his business also has nothing to do with you, but then you three plotted together and kind of basically, you know, pounced on him. So he's just defending himself. In this situation, I'm kind of inclined to side with Krauss more. I guess only because like the other three just like made such as like a vicious attack and like kind of like put themselves in this like higher position, like we're so above you, you're the one who, you know, made the mistakes, and look where you've gotten and what the situation is and the money you've lost, and you're probably embezzling that and blah 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 blah. But here is an agreement where you could do these things for us, and then we'll forgive you, and it'll all be water under the bridge, and so on and so forth. But actually, if you look behind all of that, they all have their own skeletons in the closet. They all do. Of course they do. I'm somewhat talkative, sorry. I know I'm not that talkative on the others. It's just, it's the place where I felt like I had some immediate things to say. That's all. Since I was actually playing these days. But at the same time, you know, maybe Kevin doesn't want to like see the things. Maybe he also wants to experience it with the game and stuff. Everyone needs money, of course. Rosa uncharacteristically lay bare her emotions and yelled, because she had thought she had kept it a secret. As Krauss watched, he let slip a muffled laugh. There was nothing to fear. Every one of them, more than anything else, wanted a lot of money right now. In other words, the situation had been reversed, because only Krauss, who they were threatening, had no urgent need for a large sum of money. Compared to that, the three who were threatening him wanted money quickly, no matter what the cost. So, the longer Krauss postponed this deal, the greater the advantage to him. Money! Krauss was very slight, we can see that. I am impressed. He had known of their Achilles heel from the beginning. Even so, he had not been certain. Therefore, he had hidden that until the very end, and upon closely and completely examining their attitude, he had struck back.
私もできることなら、可愛い弟や妹たちの危機に金を工面してやりたいと思っているよ。
Ah, the sarcasm.
だが、
It has so many
残
layers.
念なことに持ち合わせがなくてね。7億半もの大金が工面できるスポンサーに心当たりがあるなら、先にそちらを当たってもらいたいのだよ。
Krauss's elated words were horribly blunt. The other siblings could do nothing more than listen, grinding their teeth. If they could think of a sponsor that convenient, they wouldn't have kept up this charade. They had entered this huge battle specifically because they had exhausted all other options.
もしお前たちがどうしてもこの兄を頼りたいというなら、私の口利きでスポンサーを探してやってもよいのだがね。おっと、私にはそんなものはいないと言っていたか。それではどうにもならんね。
Krauss's slow, gloating laugh began to fill the parlor. The younger siblings, who had until now been driving the oldest brother into a corner, could do nothing more than grimace and grind their teeth.
エヴァ
冗談じゃないわ。兄さんに借りなんか作れるもんですか。冗談じゃない。冗談じゃない。
Uh-huh.
クラウス兄さんを頼ったらどう助けてくれるの？
言ったではないか。私にできるのは他のスポンサーを探すだけだよ。もちろん利息を融通してもらえるようには最大限交渉するがね。
ちくしょう、足元見やがって。
あなた落ち着いて。
I think this is... Wait, this is the first time I see Anata translated as baby. It kind of feels like a weird contrast there, maybe.
落ち着いてるぜ。俺は極めて冷静だぜ。クソったりが。
Kiria grabbed her husband's hand, but that action made him feel even more pitiful, so Rudolph shook it off. Krauss laughed as though seeing that made him extremely happy. Baby, it's so weird. Why? It just doesn't fit.
本当に親父殿の隠し黄金が見つかればいいんだがね。
Oh, yeah.
そうすればすぐに25億ずつをこの場で切り分けてやれるのだが、残念残念残念至極。非常に極めて実にどうしようもなく残念だ。今宵は兄弟みんなで酒を酌み交わしながら、親父殿の隠し黄金を
Just spend the gold.
ベアトリーチェの碑文の謎をみんなで解き明かしてみようじゃないかね。仲良し兄弟が4人揃えばきっと解けない謎はないはずさ。
Man, that's a long ha ha ha. Oh my god. Smug Krauss. Oh my god.
面白いことをする。それでその突きつけた条件というのは何か。
はい。
Oh,
クラウ
sorry.
ス様は黄金の発見を問わずにその分け前としてエヴァ様、ルドルフ様、ローザ様に計75億円を支払うこと。
Canon is reporting. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Wrong button.
ただしその1割を3月までに支払うこと。
クラウスの間抜けめ、弟たちに足をさらわれるとはな。実に愉快ではないか。
Yeah, I know. It's like dear or darling, and I understand that's what it means. And what I meant was that this is the first time I've seen it translated as baby. It just feels a little bit, I don't know. There's a discrepancy in my mind where those two don't fit together. But I guess it depends on the relationship of the people.
しかし、詰めが甘いようだな。
はい。クラウス様はそれをエヴァ様以下お三人が緊急に大金を用立てする必要があるためと看破されました。
ふん、その程度のことは看破できるのか。中途半端に無能な男め。今はどうしている？
話は一度中断されました。今はベアトリーチェ様の碑文の話をされています。
私の黄金がどこに隠されているのか、その謎を解こうとか。
はい。
Kinzo set down his glasses and
奇
snorted.
跡の成就が先か。愚か者どもが黄金を暴くのが先か。実に見ものではないか。
My weakness is ancient. It is, let me see, about 17 years old, I guess. I started watching anime more or less when I was 16, so yeah, there we go. Yeah. I'm not an expert though. I'm not an expert.
愚か者どもが我が謎を解き明かしたなら、その時は私のすべての敗北だ。我が屍を骨の一かけらまでしゃぶり尽くすがいい。愚か者どもの貪欲さが偉大なる魔法に奇跡を宿らせるのだ。だがもし奇跡の成就が先だったなら、ベアトリーチェは再び蘇る。私が半生をかけて追い求めたあの美少が蘇るのだ。おー、ベアトリーチェ。奇跡を落とす聖なる夜がやってくるぞ。悪魔たちとのゲームが始まるぞ。
I'm not really clear what this miracle is.
私はきっと打ち勝つ。絶対に生き残る。他の奴らの命はくれてやる。富も名誉も財産も黄金も何もいらぬ。ただお前の微笑みがもう一度見たいだけなのだ。
Drink every time Kinzo screams Beatrice. Kinzo choked apparently in great pain. Kanon got closer and tried to pat his master's back, but Kinzo signaled that he didn't need to.
なぜ私が黄金の隠し場所をわざわざ人目に触れるように晒したかわかるか。
And the weeps. Oh, that's nice.
いえ。
魔法の力はリスクで決まるからだ。 ベアトリーチェの黄金を暴こうとする人間が多ければ多いほど、その危険が高まれば高まるほどに、それでもなお成就できたとき、魔法の力は偉大なる奇跡を起こせるのだ。魔法とはつまりゲームなのだよ。
Interesting take.
優れている者が勝者になるのではない。勝者には魔法が与えられ優れるのだ。
Drink prune tea.
わかるか？生命の奇跡が数億分の1という神々しい確率に勝利するからこそ与えられるようにな。お前には少し難しいか。
申し訳ございません。
よい。つまりはこういうことだ。ベアトリーチェの碑文の謎を解いた者には、私が築き上げてきた全てを与えよう。富、名誉、黄金、そして後宮家の家督。私が築き上げてきた全てだ。その謎に挑む資格があるのは何も私の息子たちだけとは限らぬ。たとえお前であっても、その謎を解けたなら全てを得る資格があるのだ。
Okay, that's interesting. Now it expands beyond the family.
はい。
Okay.
ですが、僕には、あのような難しい謎は分かりかねます。
無論だ。難解に作った。だが、お前も挑め。それが我が魔法の奇跡を呼ぶ糧となる。誰もが挑み、誰にも至れなかったら、その時はその時。だが、奇跡が集い、魔法の力が生まれたなら、その時こそ、ベアトリーチェが蘇るのだ。だからお前も挑め。誰もが挑め。そして我が魔法に力を捧げるのだ。わかるな。
はい。努力します。
For a long while, Kinzo repeatedly muttered to himself, agitated and grabbing onto his head. Kanon stayed where he was, alert and unmoving, until he was given the next order from his master. Kinzo finally realized this.
もうよい。下がれ。酒棚に菓子の袋があろう。ダチンに持っていくがよい。
結構です。僕は家具ですから。
ふん。家具は菓子など食わぬか。道理だが。ならばもう下がれ。
はい。失礼いたします。
Kanon bowed and left the study. As the door was closed, a heavy locking noise resounded. Candy. But that was not the sound of Kanon locking the door. It was the door locking automatically. No one could enter without Kinzo's permission, and once they left, they could not enter again. It was a mechanism that Kinzo, unable to trust his blood relatives, had created to lock himself up in his own study and isolate himself from the outside world. The only ones he could trust now were not the sons who shared his blood, but those servants who called themselves furniture.
南條先生、いかがなさいましたか？
ああ、源氏さん。いや、何？居場所がなくなりましてな。
With a bitter laugh, Nanjo turned to face the door to the parlor. It seemed that because of that motion, Genji understood what Nanjo wanted to say. For the most part, Genji also understood the family's situation. It must have made him want to frown, knowing that right now in the parlor, the master he served was being discussed so disrespectfully. But it would have been very difficult to gather that from his indifferent expression.
しかし、私、どうして金蔵さんはこんな挑発的なものを書かれたのでしょう。
Nanjo looked at the portrait of Beatrice. No, he actually directed his gaze beneath the portrait at the plate with the epitaph.
私には親方様のお考えは分かりかねます。深いお考えがあってのこととお察しします。
金蔵さんのチェスは昔から随分と遠大な読みで布石を打たれるものでした。いや、時には理解できない一手さえ、私ごとき凡庸では何を目論まれているのか皆目見当もつきませんな。
私はこれを親方様の何かの遺言状ではないかと考えています。それを理解できた者に財産や家督をお譲りになられようということなのでしょう。
つまり私のようなよそ者に解かれてしまう前に兄弟4人で協力し合って謎を解けということではないかということですな。金蔵さんは息子さんたちのことを口悪く罵ってはいますが、なんとか兄弟が仲を取り戻してほしいと願われているのかもしれません。
Is that the miracle he's talking about? Because that would really, really take a miracle to happen. If, as Nanjo said, this epitaph had been written to repair the relationship between the siblings, how heartwarming that would be. It's too wholesome, it doesn't really fit the vibe. However, Nanjo and Genji both knew this was the one thing that could never be the case. Here were the two who held the longest relationship with Kinzo, more trusted than his blood relatives, and even they could not guess at Kinzo's true motive.
親方様は一族のものでなくとも謎に挑む資格があると常々おっしゃっています。南條先生はいかがですか？
いやいや、この老いぼれには少々難解が過ぎますな。実は以前この碑文を手帳に記しましてな、夜な夜な寝る前に挑んでみたのですが実に難しい。
Yeah, thank you. I was wondering, will we ever see the full of it? But at the same time, does it really matter if we see it or not? Because I don't think I would have much input into what it means anyway. So I'll just let the story unfold as it wishes to.
お迎えが来るまでの間、ゆっくり楽しむことができそうです。源氏さんこそいかがですかな？
私めは親方様にお仕えする家具に過ぎません。黄金も財産も私には不要なもの。
やれやれ、本当に謙虚な方です。だからこそ金蔵さんもあなたには心を許されるのでしょ
う。ならば光栄なことです。
As Nanjo lightly laughed in response, he once again looked at the epitaph.
懐かしき故郷を貫く鮎の川。黄金鏡を目指す者よ、これを下りて鍵を探せ。
That which is written on the epitaph of the portrait of my beloved witch Beatrice is as follows. Behold the Sweetfish River, running through my beloved home of old. You who seek the Golden Land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two speak of. There the key to the Golden Land sleeps. You who laid hand upon the key must journey as follows to the Golden Land. On the first twilight, sacrifice the 6 chosen by the key. This is complicated. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. On the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. On the fourth twilight, gouge the head and kill. Wow! On the fifth twilight, there's more! Gouge the chest and kill. On the sixth twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the seventh twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the eighth twilight, gouge the leg and kill. A lot of gouging, yes, it seems so. On the 9th twilight, the witch revives, and none shall be left alive. On the 10th twilight, the journey ends, and you shall reach the home of the gold. The witch shall praise the wise, and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all of the golden land's gold. One resurrects all the dead people's souls. One even revives all the love they possessed. And one for the witch to eternally rest. Rest in peace, my beloved witch, Beatrice. Man, that sounds complicated. Alright. 3 languages and niche geography. Okay. Well, it's fine. I will let the story unfold as it is, and I'm assuming we will get some answers eventually.
第10の晩に旅は終わり。
I don't need to be the Ushiromiya family's next head. I am very happy living my simple, humble, tiny life over here. I don't need any of this. Oh, I like this music. It's nice. So on the 10th twilight, the journey shall end. Yep.
黄金鏡に至るだろう。しかしマリアは豆だな。ちゃんとメモしてるとは偉いぜ。
マリアは忘れっぽいからちゃんと書く。
She's like me.
ママに言われたからちゃんと書く。
There was a notebook inside the handbag Maria was always carrying around, and Beatrice's epitaph was copied onto it. Thanks to that, we were all able to challenge the puzzle of the epitaph while here on the speech. For Jessica and the others, this was a puzzle that they had already tried to solve several times, and had already gotten bored with. But it was a first for me, and I was so excited that I couldn't stop. It really tickled my male sense of romance. Where's the sense of romance? In the gouging. Okay.
懐かしき故郷を貫く鮎の川か。じいさまの故郷ってどこだっけ？
戦前の後ろ宮家は小田原のあたりに屋敷を構えてたって聞いたぜ。で、となりゃ小田原に流れてる鮎の泳ぐ川に関心がいくわけだろ？
Yeah, but does it actually refer to the Ushiromiya family, or does it refer to Kinzo? Because as we were been told, Kinzo was external to the main family, right? So does it really refer to that, or does it refer to something personal to Kinzo? Where is Kinzo actually from?
まずはその川が起点になるからな。んで、黄金鏡を目指す者はそいつを下って鍵を探せとあるわけだ。小田原にある川ってなんだ？鮎が泳ぐ川だぜ。
小田原で鮎って言ったら早川だろうね。渓流釣りで有名だよ。
マリア魚嫌い。
マリアももう少し大きくなったらわかるぜ。鮎の塩焼きをベロベロベロってな。うまいぜ。さっき飯食ったばっかりだってのに、もう腹が減ってきちまうぜ。
ビスケットでもお持ちしましょうか？
ああ、悪い悪い。そんなつもりで言ったんじゃないぜ。気にすんな。
Shannon-chan, who didn't have any afternoon chores for a while, was faithfully keeping us company. I would have thought that as a servant, accompanying us would force her to take care of us and tire her out, but it seemed that it wasn't so in her case. To the contrary, it seemed she was having fun joining in on the conversation with people of a similar age. When I asked, she told me she was a live-in worker. So normally the only person close in age to her was Jessica. I get it, that must be pretty worrisome.
さて、小田原で鮎の川って言えば早川だってことは分かった。となりゃ下るしかねえよな。早川を下ると何があるんだろうな。
下流に出て海に出ると思います。
そうさ、河口部に出る。そして碑文の3行目には川を下ればやがて里ありとあるな。ちなみにそういう河口部は大抵大昔から輸送の要衝になってて大きな都市があるもんさ。ここが次のチェックポイントだな。
なかなかいい筋だね。バトラ君の想像通り、そこは大昔にとても栄えたことだよ。小田原城があるところだね。
あ、修学旅行で小田原城に行った気がします。素敵なお城でしたよ。
ああ、私も小田原城だったぜ。洋館に住んでてなんだが、やっぱり日本人は和風の方が落ち着くよな。
おお、
和風。
マリアお城退屈。遊園地がいい。
Of course. Oh.
そうかそうか。よしよし。黄金を見つけたら、このバトラ様が気前よく遊園地を一日借り切って遊ばせてやるぜ。
Based Maria.
しかし小田原城とはな。小田原城の隠し黄金。お、こりゃなんだかいかにもって感じだよな。
まあ、2年前の私たちもそこまでは行き着いたぜ。小田原で鮎の泳ぐ川を下った里。そこが多分小田原城あたりだろうってところまでは私たちも行き着いたさ。問題は次の行だろう。さて、バトラの鎮推理はどこまでいけるか見ものだぜ。
Jessica grinned broadly. It was like she was saying that if the puzzle could be solved so easily, she would have found it long ago. Damn it. I'll definitely find it and keep it all for myself.
4行目。
Battler Kun, go ahead.
その里にて、二人が口にし、岸を探れ。二人ってのが何のことかわからねえが、とにかく岸だな。で、岸ってなんだよ。岸って名前がつく地名でもあるのかな。
蘇我岸という地名が小田原にあるんだそうですよ。
え？おお、詳しいってことはなんだよ。シャノンちゃんも黄金を狙って謎解きに挑戦してるんだな。となりゃ、俺たちはライバルだぜ。
別に黄金なんて興味は。ただ以前にジョージ様から教えてもらっただけで。
2年前の私たちも同じ推理に行き着いたってわけさ。わざわざ地図を広げて調べたんだぜ。
小田原城の北に5キロくらいだったかな。そこには確かに蘇我岸という地名があるよ。でもそこからがわからないんだ。次の5行目にはその土地のどこに鍵があるかは記してない。マリアちゃん、読んでくれるかい？
そこに黄金鏡への鍵が眠る。
A key that sleeps. That's definitely some sort of metaphor in both directions. Both key, what is key, and sleeps, what is sleeps.
読めた。
蘇我岸ったって広いだろうし、かつてそこに後宮家の家があったわけでもない。その広大な土地のどこかに鍵が隠されてて納品取ってんじゃ、こいつはお手上げってわけだぜ。
確かにな。鍵が手に入らないことにはその先の行に進めないぜ。ジョージ兄貴、蘇我岸ってのはどんなとこなんだ？
さあね、行ったことはないからわからないけど、地図によると山の中みたいだよ。確か浅間山の山麓みたいだったね。
なんだかパッとしねえな。宝のありかを隠した謎ってのはもっとぴったりとハマるもんじゃねえのかよ。どうも蘇我岸ってのがそもそも間違いって気がするぜ。
私は蘇我岸を疑ってるぜ。私たちが知らないだけで、例えばじいさまの子供時代を過ごした家とかがあるかもしれないだろ。1行目に懐かしき故郷をって行があるくらいだもんな。シャノンはじいさまによく酒とか継がされてたろ？昔話とか聞かされたことないのか？
親方様は昔の話はほとんどされません。ただ、後宮家が滅びかけた関東大震災について、 非常に人事のように話されることがありましたので、関東地方よりずっと遠方にお住まいだったかもしれません。
後宮本家は小田原に住んでたかもしれないけど、分家はその限りじゃなかったろうね。
There it is. Fun times solving riddles at the beach. What could go wrong? I mean, sure, hit me up with a riddle under the sun and a cocktail. I wouldn't mind for a bit of mental exercise. I mean, they're not doing anything wrong. They're just like brainstorming a little bit.
おじい様はよく自分のことを分家も分家、後継ぎに最も縁遠かったと言われるくらいだからね。
ってことはつまり懐かしき故郷ってのがすでに小田原じゃない可能性もあるってことだな。
じい様の故郷なんて聞いたこともないぜ。聞いても素直に教えちゃくれねえだろうしよ。
懐かしき故郷というのが後宮家のルーツを指さないのであれば、小田原説は初めから間違ってることになっちゃうね。もちろん曽我騎士の疑いが晴れたわけじゃないけれども、例えば幼少の頃を小田原で過ごし、その後遠方へ引っ越した可能性もあるだろうし。
おお、さっきから何の話かわかんない。
Maria had been completely left out of the conversation, and she now said, puffing out her cheeks in boredom.
つまりだな。黄金すごろくの最初のスタート地点が決まらないことには何も始まらないってことだぜ。ん？いや待てよ。最初の5行で見つかるのは鍵だろ？鍵なんてなくても扉はぶち壊して入ることだってできるはずだぜ。とりあえず最初の5行をすっ飛ばしてその先の推理に入ってもいいんじゃねえか？
Unless the key is not a literal key.
おお。
It's something else, but okay.
その発想はなかったぜ。まあいいや、どうせ暇つぶしなんだ。続きを聞かせろよ、バトラの推理。
でもその先からは急に物騒になるんですよね。
Disturbing is one way of putting it. It's a bit of an euphemism. Shannon frowned slightly. After looking back at Maria's notebook to recall what was written there. Alright, I agree.
第1の番に鍵の選びし6人を生贄に捧げよう。いきなり物騒になるな。
第2の番には寄り添う2人を引き裂けときたもんだ。
Oh man, you're too cute. You have too much faith in me. I don't think I could. But that's alright. I think it is meant to be difficult, and it is meant to make you scratch your head as a reader, but not manage to follow through with it fully, because otherwise, like, what fun would it be, you know? So I'm fine going down that ride. It's okay.
恋仲を破談させるのか。文字通り引き裂くという意味なのか。
I have this feeling, it's just my initial impression, that whatever is said here, it's meant to, like, it's written in a way that's meant to sound gruesome, but it's probably just a metaphor for something that you wouldn't think to associate with this literal choice of words, I guess.
わかりかねるけど、どっちにせよ気持ちの悪い話だぜ。
その第2の番の解釈を別にしても、第1の番に6人、第4の番から第8の番までで5人、少なく見積もっても11人が生贄にされなきゃならない。
おお、ベアトリーチェが蘇るための生贄。
なるほど。魔女復活のための生贄か。そういう解釈にもなるな。その結果、第9の番に魔女が蘇って、最後は極めつけだな。
第9の番に魔女は蘇り、誰も生き残れはしない。結局はみんな死んでしまいます。
それでようやく次の第10の番にゴールってことになってんな。みんな死んじまうのに黄金鏡へ至るだろうって言われても 困ったもんだぜ。
鍵を手に旅に出た当人も生き残れないに含めるのかどうかは解釈の分かれるところだね。
しかしよ、最後のところには面白いことが書いてあるぜ。ゴールした後、魔女からもらえる4つの宝の行だよ。1つは全ての黄金。問題は次だ。全ての死者の魂を蘇らせるとあるぜ。みんな死んじまったっていうのとかけてるような気がしねえか。
それを言われれば、次の失った愛すらも蘇らせるという部分は、第二の晩の寄り添いし2人を引き裂けにかけているようにも見えますね。
そうだね。そして4つ目も第9の晩にかけてある。第9の晩に蘇った魔女を4つ目の宝が再び眠りにつかせている。
好意的に解釈すりゃ、死んだり別れさせたりと忙しいが、最後には全部チャラになるわけだな。目覚めた魔女も再び眠るし、手元にはたっぷりの黄金だけが残るって寸法だぜ。
死んだり蘇らせたり、別れさせたりくっつかせたりと、魔女様はお忙しいこったな。
ついでに起きたり眠ったりな。
やれやれ。せっかくの隠し黄金の話も魔女の話が絡んじまうと急にうさんくさくなっちまうぜ。
違いないな。
I laughed along with Jessica. After all, a witch was just ridiculous. Of course, once we started laughing like that, Maria, who believed in witches, got angry. Some people did solve it by googling a lot. Alright, I mean, to each their own. Whatever, you know, floats your boat, makes you happy. What makes me happy is just like, okay, pondering a little bit, thinking this could mean this could mean that, but not dwelling on it too much and just letting the story follow its course, and then we will eventually land on what it means. It's all good.
魔女はすごい。魔法で何でもできる。殺すことも、生き返らせることも、愛を与えることも、奪うことも。空も飛べるし、姿を透明にできるし、黄金もパンも生み出せる。あ、いけね。悪い悪い。冗談だよ。
Jessica apologized, sticking out her tongue, but Maria didn't accept it. She grabbed her notebook back out of my hands and, opening the other pages, tried to prove that witches existed. Those pages had colored illustrations of witches drawn on them, and conveyed the fantastical image Maria had of witches well. They were not depicted as the normal sinister, crooked-nosed hags flying around on brooms, but as dreamlike people with mysterious powers who could do anything and wore beautiful dresses. Just what you would expect from an imaginative young girl. Dancing through the sky, crossing a rainbow, dancing around all night with magical teacups and teapots that would never get empty no matter how much you poured out of them. With a flourish of their wands, the stars in the sky would become candy and pour down, and flowers that produced sweets would bud by the roadside. Oh, that's so cute. To Maria, witches were the sole thing that could give form to the magical dreams that so captivated her. The last thing enriching her reality, which revealed more and more of its bland nature to her with every inch she grew. That was why Maria believed in witches. She didn't want that dream to be insulted. And for that very reason, nor did she want the epitaph, which affirmed the existence of witches, to be insulted. Because the witch Beatrice is Maria's dream. Aww.
マリアちゃんにとっては、これは黄金の隠し場所を示すものじゃなくて、魔女を蘇らせるための魔法なんだって。
So, it was the single bridge between Maria and the witch. Maria was very angry and clung onto George Aniki. Jessica and I scratched our heads and apologized. It might not be possible to smooth things over again like the time she got mad in front of the portrait. Maria didn't want to be easily consoled. And As Jessica and I hung our heads, wondering what we could do, Shannon-chan timidly opened her mouth in our place.
マリア様、ご存知ですか？私たち使用人の間では、ベアトリーチ様の怪談が語り継がれているんですよ。
そうだったっけ？シャドン、聞かせてやれよ。私は知らないんだけど、使用人の間じゃかなり有名な話らしいぜ。
何の話だ？怪談？
うん。僕たちが生まれる前からある話らしいね。母さんにも話を聞かされたことがあるよ。
はい。この島にお屋敷が建てられてからずっと語り継がれている話です。当時の使用人たちは、お屋敷には昼と夜で違う主がいると囁き合っていたそうです。
The tale that Shannon told was just like a typical campfire ghost story. If there was a forest with a witch living inside it, then inevitably the witch was going to pay the mansion a visit. At some point, this ghost story naturally sprouted up between the servants.
ちゃんと閉めたはずの窓や扉や鍵がもう一度見回りに来たら開いていたとか、消したはずの明かりがついていたり、つけたはずの明かりが消えていたり、置いたはずのものがなくなっていたり、置いた覚えのないものが置かれていたり、そういうことがあるたびに、古い使用人たちは魔女が姿を消してお屋敷を訪れ、いたずらをしていったのだろうと囁き合ったそうです。
Oh my god, the music stopped.
ほら、いる！ベアトリーチェはいる！
ああ、いるよな。私も昔よく登校の時に限ってカバンが見つからなかったりしたもんだぜ。
Maria puffed out her chest with an ooh, as though this was the final proof that the witch existed. If I said it out loud, Maria would probably be hurt again, so I didn't, but... I mean, you hear that kind of story everywhere. Depending on the place, it might be blamed on fairies or something. It's just that on this island, they call it the witch. Of course, you would expect that walking around a vast, elegant mansion at night would be a little unsettling. Oh god, a little more than unsettling. Jeez. It's an island devoid of people. Since the mansion is so drafty, walking around the night of a thunderstorm would certainly be eerie.
他にも、
please no. Don't pay
お
that
にぎや
with my hand.
輝く蝶々が舞っているのを見たという使用人も。
Ooh, butterflies.
カノン君もそれらしいものを以前夜の見回りの時に見たことがあると言ってました。あと最近ではお屋敷の中で深夜に不思議な足音をよく聞くと使用人の間で話題です。私たちは肖像画の中のベアトリーチェ様が姿を消してお屋敷の中を散歩しているんだろうと囁き合ってるんですよ。ずいぶん前ですが、私もそうかもしれない足音を夜の見回りの時に聞いたことがあります。
ひゅー。そりゃ怖えな。
あ、
Oh my god.
でも、
I don't know why does it give me this creepy feeling? It's just a story.
怯えることはないんですよ。ベアトリーチェ様は親方様とは異なるもう一人のお屋敷の主です。だから変に怯えたりしないで敬意を持っていれば決して悪いことはしないのだそうです。
How can you not act oddly afraid?
ただし、敬意を持たないと恐ろしいんだったね。
Well, that would make you more afraid. Afraid to disrespect her by accident. Doesn't that make it worse? Oh god.
はい。私が勤めを始める直前に階段を転がり落ちて腰に大怪我をして辞めた方はベアトリーチェ様のことを悪く言っていたそうです。だから使用人たちはベアトリーチェ様のお怒りに触れたのだろうと噂し合ったそうです。
Be very afraid. Oh god. it's like the thing that I have with dogs in a way, but obviously a bit extrapolated. So I was kind of chased around by some dogs when I was little, and I kind of developed this fear of like stray dogs, particularly in Romania. There's a lot of them all over the place. And so I prefer when I see them to just avoid them and like walk as far away from them as possible. And if there's ever like a dog, even if it has like an owner, right? So it's not a stray dog. If it's off the leash somewhere, I try not to get next to it, just out of precaution. But I have this weird cycle happening inside me that I'm trying my best to not be afraid, but you are told, I don't know how true it is, that dogs can sense your fear. So can the dog sense my fear of appearing afraid in front of the dog, so that this dog would pick up on it and then get aggressive towards me, even though I mean no ill intent, but then I have this anticipation that it might still get aggressive towards me, and then I am even more afraid. So it's like this cycle. It takes me to that kind of like circumstance, to be honest. Oh, she's not gonna do anything bad, just don't disrespect her and don't be oddly afraid, okay? Mm-hmm.
Okay. バトラとジェシカ、きっとお怒りに触れる。
Maria is upset with them.
わあ、悪かったぜ。お怒りに触れちゃたまるね。
I know, but it's a thing that has been set into my mind ever since I was little. Oh, don't be afraid of the dog. The dog's gonna sense that you're afraid and it's gonna attack you even more. I'm like, that really does not help. It's not doing what you think it would be doing to my mind. It's just making me even more afraid. Ah.
謝るよ、マリア。もちろん、魔女様にも謝るぜ。ベアトリーチェ様、ごめんなさい。よそ者のザレ言と思って勘弁してやってください。
Acting like a prey. I guess that's what I am.
私も謝るぜ。ベアトリーチェ様、ごめんなさい。これで魔女様、私たちを許してくれるかな？
わかんない。魔女は気まぐれだから、許してくれるときは許してくれるし、許さないときは許さない。
それは困ったね。マリアちゃん、バトラ君とジェシカちゃんがベアトリーチェ様のお怒りに触れないようにするいいおまじないとかないかな。何か魔除けとかさ。
By relying on Maria, who was proud of knowing the most about witches, George was trying to revive her self-esteem. I was once again forced to admire his ability to comfort children. After crossing her arms and pondering seriously as to whether there was some charm capable of protecting Jessica and myself from the witch's wrath, Maria began flipping through the pages of her handbook. I had thought it was just a simple scribbled diary, but it turned out that there were also many pages that looked like they had come from a book on black magic. Ooh. She was intently comparing several such pages onto which had been copied what looked like magic circles. It looks like that black magic hobby wasn't limited to grandfather alone. Perhaps she had finished her research. She vigorously closed the notebook with a snap, threw it into her handbag, and began fishing through that bag's contents. It seems that various jumbled up things were in there. For a while she continued to take out various pieces of junk, although they were probably important magical items to her, and repeatedly throw them back in, saying they were wrong. She looked a little humorous, almost like Santa Claus deliberating over which present to give. Finally, it seemed that she had excavated what she was looking for. With a face unimaginably brighter than the difficult expression she had worn until now, she stuck them out to Jessica and me. As I reached out to grab it, I noted that it was a very cheap-looking charm. It looked like a bracelet made from a plastic rosary, with a scorpion motif medal attached. I mean, you often find cheap accessories that correspond to constellations. It felt like a gift that you might win in the crane game at an arcade. It really looked like something like that. There were two, probably one for me and one for Jessica. However, considering the odd fact that there were two of them, they looked like cheap manufactured goods, and it was quite hard to think of them as magical items.
これを私とバトラに？
このお守りならベアタリーチェも大丈夫。サソリは魔除けの力があるから。
そうなのか？サソリにそんな力がね
バトラが信じない。
I had inflamed Maria again because I said too much. Maria took out her notebook again and turned and pointed to page after page, going on and on about how the scorpion had holy power and had been drawn on magic-repelling magic circles since ancient times.
他の使用人の子から聞いたことがあります。
No, Bea, if I cross paths with you on the street, I want to give you a hug, not repel you. So, it's fine.
サソリって魔術では魔除けのシンボルとして描かれることもあるんだとか。
へえ、そうなのか。
サソリは悪い魔法や最悪から守ってくれる。そしてエメラルドは心に平和をもたらしてくれる。だから二重で効果がある。
ほんとだ。サソリがエメラルドを抱いて守ってるね。なるほど。これはご利益がありそうだよ。
I really wanted to make fun of this worthless-looking charm, but as I watched Maria explaining the charm with all of her heart and realized that she had prepared them out of consideration for us, it felt as though even if it were just a prize from a game center, it would still be beneficial. Material quality isn't what's important about charms, it's the strength of the feelings behind them. There you go! I'd like to think I have enough respect for myself not to make fun of those.
そっか。ありがとな。ベアトリーチェ様には謝ったけどよ。万が一たたりがある時でも、マリアのこのお守りのおかげで安心だぜ。な、ジェシカ。
ああ、そうだぜ。
ありがとうな、マリア。心に平安が欲しいときは腕につける。お財布に入れるとお金が減らなくなる。ドアノブにかけておくと悪いものが入ってこられなくなる。便利なお守り。それはすごい効能ですね。マリア様が自信を持って進めるお守りならきっと頼もしいものと思います。
As Shannon-chan tapped her hands together lightly, Maria stuck out her chest. She was completely cheered up again. If it would keep her in this good of a mood, it would probably be worth it to let Maria lead the discussion for a while longer. When you think about it, she hadn't shared in our excitement when we talked about the gold's hidden location, so I think she had gotten a little bored. While eating the cookies Kumasao-san had baked, Jessica and I asked Maria this and that about black magic. Maria happily chatted away in response to our questions. For each one, George, Aniki, and Shannon-chan would act surprised and agree with everything she said. The color of the clouds in the sky grew progressively heavier, but the cousins really enjoyed communicating freely after 1 year of separation. Weren't those seagulls? I was about to say.
今、額にポタって来なかったかい？
どうだろうな。
As George Aniki rubbed his forehead, he looked up at the sky. Considering the color of the sky and the dampness of the air, raindrops could easily have started falling down at any moment. It also seemed like the wind had gotten a little stronger.
マリアポタッと来ない。マリアだけ来ない。
安心しろ。俺にも来ねえぜ。
Don't worry, if it starts pouring, you're gonna feel all of the drops.
それに今夜になれば、誰にも等しく大雨が降るだろうよ。
そうだね。そろそろ引き上げた方がいいかな。
Shannon-chan looked down at her watch. It may already be well into the evening.
もう仕事に戻る時間かよ。
はい。皆様と一緒で楽しい時間を過ごさせていただきました。ありがとうございました。
熊沢さんにクッキーをごちそうさまって伝えてね。さあみんな、片付けを手伝おう。
Shannon-chan declined our help, saying that this was a servant's job. But picking up a dropped fork before the waitress has to is like my purpose in life. Aww. Okay, butler-kun. We folded up the blanket, gathered up the trash, and helped clean everything up. She's so excited about it.
そいつは逃がさないぜ。マリアより先にいただきだ。
マリアが拾う。
She's so cute.
マリア、靴を濡らすなよ。怒られるぜ。
To Maria, chasing after some trash that the strong winds had sent flying was just like an extension of our playtime. By the time we finished cleaning up, the wind had started blowing very strongly. It looked like a good chance to head back.
皆様のおかげで助かりました。ありがとうございました。
もう本当に時間がないみたいだね。先に戻っていいよ。
George Aniki perceived from her hurried appearance that very little of her free time was left.
源氏さん、時間には厳しい人だからな。定時に持ち場についてないと厳しそうだぜ。
また後でね。お仕事頑張ってね。
はい。それでは失礼させていただきます。
After making a respectful bow, Shannon-chan hurried off in the direction of the rose garden.
じゃあ、俺たちもゲストハウスへ戻ろうぜ。テレビでも見てくつろがせてもらうさ。
テレビ見る。
なら決まりだな。戻ってみんなで一緒にテレビでも見ようぜ。
Even Maria, who was still not tired of playing, agreed she thought about watching TV. We headed up the gentle stairs and returned to the rose garden. The wind had become very strong and roses shook throughout the garden like ripples on water. This might be our last chance to see these beautiful roses. Tonight's typhoon is sure to ruin them.
バラ、今夜の風でやられちまうかもしれないな。
そうだな。バラたちもラッキーだったと思うぜ。台風の前にバトラたちを歓迎できたんだからよ。
花はいつか必ず散る。でもだからこそ咲き誇る今をめでることができるんじゃないかな。
そうだな。マリアもよく目に焼き付けとけ。今この瞬間が今年で一番のバラなんだぜ。
目に焼き付ける。
Right then, Maria suddenly clapped her hands. It looked like she had remembered something.
マリアのバラ、台風で飛ばされちゃう。
ああ、ジョージの兄貴に目印のリボンをつけてもらった。あの元気のないバラか？
It seemed that Maria remembered where the rose was. She ran at full speed. The rest of us followed her. She's so sweet. Genuinely concerned about the flowey. Aww.
あれはどこだったっけな。確かこの辺だったと思ったぜ。
We searched everywhere around that area, but after all, it was only a single flower amongst all of these roses. Even though we knew it was somewhere close by, it wasn't proving easy to find. The winds that made up the front lines of the typhoon were making the roses throughout the garden undulate. It was almost like it was teasing us by making the location of Maria's rose impossible to find.
ここじゃなかったかな。少し手分けをして探してみようか。
そうだな。人海戦術で行こうぜ。ん？なんだよ、マリア。
As we made to split up and search, Maria tugged on my jacket with an unhappy face. It felt like her intention was to stop us from going to another place.
なんだよ、どうした？
マリアのバラはここなの。ここにあるの。
でも現にないぜ。この花壇の裏側だったかもな。みんなで探せば早いぜ。
ここなの。マリアのバラはここなの。探して。
Stomp, stomp, stomp. Maria stomped her feet in irritation. She was pointing at the spot, saying it was definitely there, yet it actually wasn't. And yet, if we went to go search elsewhere, she got mad. We were at a loss for what to do. For a while, we would have to stay with Maria and pretend to search through this rose thicket. Maybe she's saying that it should be here, but isn't. Maria became increasingly ill-tempered.
参ったな。マリアがすっかり機嫌を損ねちまったぞ。
マリアはたまにすごくどうでもいいことを気にし始めちゃうんだよ。
Yeah, sadness.
それがどうにかなるときはいいんだけど。
ないものは探せないしね。困ったな。
Just as we were starting to despair for a way out of the situation, Maria shouted out loudly. In the direction she was waving her hand, Auntie Rosa's figure was visible. Maybe she wanted to look at the garden one more time before the typhoon came. Or maybe she had some business at the guest house. Auntie Rosa was coming from the mansion. She quickly noticed her daughter's voice and came over.
あらあら。どうしたのみんな。何か探し物なの？探して！ママもマリアのバラを探して！マリアのバラって？
この辺に元気のないバラを一つ見つけて、それに目印をつけたんです。
飴玉かなんかの包み紙でキュッと。しかしマリア、確か俺の記憶が正しけりゃ、すぐ手前の目立つところに生えてたはずだぜ。足が生えてどこかに行っちまったんじゃなきゃ、他の場所だったと思うぜ。
Rosa did ara ara.
マリアの記憶違いじゃないのか？
ここなの！パトラが信じてくれない！
その言うのをやめなさいって何度言ったらわかるの？ママも探してあげるから静かにしなさい。
I was a little surprised to see Auntie Rosa, who I had only ever seen as gentle, get angry. Auntie Rosa began searching as well, so we went along with her for the time being. But we were already more than sure it wasn't around here. And so, Auntie Rosa also realized very quickly that it wasn't here.
ここにはそのバラはないわよ。他の場所の間違いじゃない。これだけたくさんのバラがあるんだから。
違うの！ここにあるの！
Why is she so caught up into this particular place?
ママも信じてくれない！
What's about it? Oh god.
ちゃんと信じて探してるでしょ。でもないじゃない。
でもここなの！ここにあるのにないの！
じゃあ誰かが抜いちゃったんでしょ。とにかくその言うのやめなさい。
マリアのバラ抜いたの誰？抜いたの誰？返して返して！
そんなの知らないわよ。やめなさい。その言うのやめなさい。
That's not gonna achieve anything. Oh god, that definitely will not achieve anything. Or not anything productive for sure. Auntie Rosa slapped Maria's left cheek with her palm. For that instant, Maria was shocked into silence. Of course, it was only for an instant. When Maria realized that her wish was being rejected before it could be fulfilled, she started yelling with an increasingly louder voice. The tragedy of my ears. Like, oh my god,
その変な口癖をやめなさいって言ってるでしょ。だからクラスの子たちにもバカにされるんでしょうが。いい加減にしなさい。
Once again, her palm slapped Maria's cheek. This time, she didn't go silent. She choked as she started crying and began to bawl in an increasingly louder voice. Maria claims another victim's ears, I guess. Auntie Rosa was clearly irritated and lifted her hand once more to try and shut her daughter up.
ローザおばさん、まあまあ、小さい子供のことですし、そんなマジになんなくても。
I attempted to intervene with a forced smile and my hands clasped together. But the deadly serious look I was thrown by Auntie Rosa taught me quickly that I shouldn't butt in.
ごめんね。バトラ君たちはちょっとお部屋に戻っててくれる？
Ryukishi's favorite topic? What do you mean?
おばさんはマリアとちょっと話があるの。
誰もマリアのバラを信じてくれない。ここにあったのに。
The author was a social worker, so he handles child abuse quite a bit. Okay. Makes sense now. Thank you for the clarifications. I had no idea.
Deもないじゃない。なら他の場所の勘違いでしょ。じゃあなくなっちゃったのよ。諦めなさい。ど
うしてマリアのバラがなくなっちゃうの？どうして
知らないわよ、そんなの。だからその言うのをやめなさい。
Auntie Rosa once again raised her hand and, overrun by emotions, slapped Maria's cheek. It was so strong it knocked Maria over.
ローザおばさん、いくら娘でも暴力はいけないっすよ。
I stepped between them to protect Maria, who was still on the ground, crying, ooh, ooh. I know that problems between parent and child are none of my business as an outsider, but I wasn't brought up to just silently observe something like this.
バトラ君は変に思わないの？あなたの学校にうなってる女の子なんている？
いや、まあさすがに高校には。でも小学生ならそういう言うのも可愛いじゃないっすか。
可愛い？言うのが可愛い？可愛いって？
It seemed that my reckless words had brought Auntie Rosa's wrath down upon me. She grabbed my collar with a terrifying expression.
バカ言ってんじゃないわよ。マリアがいくつか知ってる？9歳よ。小学4年生なのよ。幼稚園児じゃないのよ。それなのにまだクラスで言ってるのよ。わかる？この子クラスでなんて言っていじめられてるか知ってるの？この変な口癖のせいで未だに友達の一人もいないのよ。無責任にマリアのこと可愛いとか言って現実から目をそらさないで。この子の将来のことをもっともっと真剣に考えて。
Still, yelling at her, slapping her, just getting your voice hoarse, saying the same thing over and over again. It's not gonna change it. This is not gonna convince her, on the contrary. It's just gonna make it worse. There it is.
だからその言うのをやめなさい。やめろって言ってんでしょ。
Auntie Rosa struck Maria's quivering head, from which an increasingly unsatisfied voice was rising. I tried to stop her, but she thrust me away. My back collided with George Aniki.
昔はローザおばさんもマリアちゃんの幼児言葉の一つだくらいにしか思わなかったんだけど、小学校の中学年になっても治らないのを最近はだいぶ気にしてて。
別にどういう言葉遣いをしようと関係。
そのまま社会人にはなれないよ。だから見ていて気持ちのいい光景ではないけれど、これはおばさんたち親子の問題なんだよ。
まあ私もこの言葉遣いのせいでよくお袋に怒られるけどよ。
If you look at it that way, maybe an outsider shouldn't interfere with this, even though it's painful to watch.
バトラ君だって小さい頃悪い癖が治らなくて怒られたことがあったんじゃないかい？
まあ一つや二つは。授業参観の日に人前でずっと怒られてた時は恥ずかしくてたまらなかったぜ。
じゃあ今のマリアちゃんたちの気持ちはわかるよね。僕たちにここにいてほしいとは思わないんじゃないかな。ジェシカちゃんにもわかるよね。
怒られてるところを誰かに見られてえとは思わないぜ。
行こう。ゲストハウスへ戻ろう。そしてマリアちゃんが戻ってきたら何事もなかったかのように迎えてあげようよ。それが一番じゃないかい。
We thought that George Aniki's point was probably correct, and if we could use that correct-sounding reason to justify our retreat from this painful scene, that was probably enough for us. Jessica and I nodded at George Aniki and we all left. We called towards Maria that we were going to head to the guest house, but since it didn't seem to reach her ears, we felt guilty and shameless even saying it.
それなら好きなだけ一人で探しなさい。ママは知りません。
探す！マリアが一人で探す！ママが知らなくても探す！
勝手にしなさい！
After blasting her with those last few words, Rosa spun on her heels and quickly returned to the mansion. Maria probably viewed that as a cold, hurtful gesture. But from Rosa's perspective, that was not her intention. It was because the hand which she held so emotionally... the hand which she had so emotionally struck Maria's cheek with was still numb. It was because if she stayed there screaming, she might again be taken over by her emotions and continue slapping her daughter's cheek over and over. After Rosa left, only Maria was left in the rose garden, all alone. The wind began to blow stronger and stronger, and every once in a while a raindrop would fall on her forehead. Oh, I'm sorry, Bear. However, Maria couldn't leave that place. Not until she found that poor, withering rose. I don't understand why Maria was so set on the rose having to be in a particular place and didn't really want to look further, though. That's one thing that I didn't quite catch, where the obsession with that particular spot came from. It had definitely been there, and yet it wasn't there. Even though she knew the place, and even though this was it, it wasn't there. Maria, while bitterly staring at the place it was supposed to be, thought frantically. Right, so maybe she made like a very clear, good mental note, and so she's adamant that it must have been there. Maybe the angle I'm looking from is wrong. Maybe the height I'm looking from is wrong. While gazing at a single point, Maria repeatedly changed her position and continued to stare. The wind was getting increasingly stronger, but Maria kept on looking for that rose in front of the flower bed. Autism kind of works like that. Okay, I see. Yeah, I think I understand what you mean. Oof. Kinzo noticed the sound of the raindrops beating on the window. It had finally started to rain. It had begun later than the weather report had predicted. Kinzo, as if being summoned by the sound of the rain, approached the window. The sound of the rain is a sound of silence. The sound feels quieter than any silence, and makes humans remember that, in the end, they are alone from when they are born to when they die.
遅かったではないか、ベアトリーチェ。
Were those words directed at the rainy sky? No one could be seen in the direction of Kinzo's gaze.
さあ、始めようではないか。私とお前の奇跡の宴を。今こそ、この島は現世より切り離された。もう誰も私の儀式の邪魔をすることはできぬ。お前にふさわしい生贄は十分にあるぞ。息子たちが4人、その伴侶が3人、孫たちが4人。
Wait, only 3 of their oh yeah, because Rosa doesn't have a companion. There we go. It wasn't computing in my mind for a moment.
私に、客に、使用人たち。どれでも好きなだけ食らうがいい。運命の鍵は悪魔のルーレットに従い生贄を選ぶであろう。そのルーレットが私を選ぶならば、私すらもお前の生贄となろう。だからこそなのだ。
Doesn't that defeat the purpose? Because then you'd never get to see her?
それだけの狂気をかけるからこそ、私は必ずや偉大な奇跡を起こすだろう。さあ、好きなだけ食らうがいい。私はそのルーレットに打ち勝つだろう。さあ、すべてを落すぞ。まずは後ろ宮家の家督を返そう。受け取るがいい。
As Kinzo violently opened the window, he ripped the golden ring from his finger and forcefully threw it away. At that moment, thunder resounded, giving the illusion that the lightning had accepted the ring.
そして、お前が蘇った時、そこにいるのは私であるだろう。私が最後まで生き残り、お前の目覚めを見守るだろう。さあ来たれ、ベアトリーチェ。ようこそ我が宴。私が生み出したすべてと引き換えに、私にもう一度だけ奇跡を見せておくれ。おー、ベアトリーチェ。
Ay, ay, ay. Drink. Cheers. Ay, ay, ay. A new sticker popped up on top of the TV program we were watching. The disaster report told how municipalities all over were continually sending out rain, flood, and wave warnings. Of course, the harshly beating raindrops on the window were much more convincing.
すっげえ降りだな。でもこれだけ盛大だとすぐにやみそうな気もするけどな。
そりゃ雨ぜ。台風の速度が遅いそうだから、下手すりゃ明日も丸一日こんな調子らしいぜ。ちょっとの天気でも船は欠航するもんだしよ。
やっぱり日曜日のうちには引き上げられないか。念のため月曜日に外部とのスケジュールを入れなくて正解だったよ。
ってことは月曜の学校はサボれそうだな。島生活ってのも悪くないもんだぜ。そういや、ジェシカは登校って毎日船で通ってるわけだろ。船が欠航したら学校はどうなるんだ？カメハメハ大王並みに雨が降ったらお休みで、風が吹いたら遅刻してか？
船が出なきゃ休みになるぜ。もっともそう甘くはねえけどな。大抵その代わりに自習が指示されて、 後でかっちりと見られるから、そうそう気楽でもねえさ。
例えば、梅雨なんかの長く天気が崩れる時期だと、数日間くらい登校できないこともあるんじゃねえのか？
そういうこともあるぜ。でも、毎日きっちり担任から電話がかかってきて、どう自習しろ、何を提出しろと酸っぱく指導されるけどな。
バトラ君が考えてるほど簡単にはサボれないよ。船で通う人たちのルールに従ってしっかり勉強をしているよ。
むしろ登校できた方が気楽だぜ。自分の部屋じゃ気が散るし、集中もできねえしな。それでいて問題集ばっかり数日もやらされてると、かなり精神的に応えるもんがあるぜ。大学の時にはよ、寮のあるところに入ってさっさとこんな不便な島はおさらばしたいもんだぜ。
へえ。じゃあよ、ちなみに行きは天気が良くても帰りは悪くて欠航ってなったらどうすんだ？学校に泊まるのか？
そういうのはよくあることだぜ。だから帰島できない人用の宿泊所があってよ、そこに寝泊まりするんだよ。下手すりゃ数日間家に帰れないこともあったりするぜ。
乗車率が 200% を超えるような満員電車で毎日通勤通学しなければならない人から見てみると、船の通学なんて趣があって良さそうだななんて無責任に思っちゃうけど、やっぱりいろいろと苦労があるんだね。
Oh, that sounds so complicated.
よく無神経な観光客がそういうこと言ってるぜ。私は島の生活なんてもうお腹いっぱいだね。早く高校出てこんな島とはおさらばしたいぜ。
高校にだって全寮制のところとかあったろうよ。なんでわざわざ新島の学校を選んだんだよ。
私は最初からそれを希望してたぜ。でもおふくろがよ、当主跡継ぎとしての修行やらマナーやらがうんぬんってうるさくてよ、結局高校も地元になっちまったのさ。こんな島はごめんだぜ。早く都会で生活したいよ。雨が降ろうが槍が降ろうが、ラフな格好でサンダルを履けば
スピアーズ
5分足らずでコンビニに行けるような都会に引っ越したいぜ。
もう少しの辛抱だよ。高校卒業まであとちょっとでしょ。
そのちょっとも我慢できねえぜ。
Jessica stretched out and reclined on the sofa. Maybe because now was a bad time slot, there weren't any interesting programs on. And we had nothing to do but languidly kill time until we were called for dinner. In the end, Maria had not returned to the cousin's room. She had probably been brought back to the mansion by Auntie Rosa. It had to be pretty boring for Maria all by herself while the adults are having a confusing conversation. Worse, she's probably out in the freaking rain. We thought we might head over to the mansion to see her, but after all, there was this lousy weather, and there wasn't much time until dinner, so we stayed where we were. At that time, we heard the sound of a humble knock. Jessica answered.
Hi! お食事の準備が整いました。お屋敷へお越しください。
It was Kanon-kun's voice. He went to all the trouble of coming from the mansion in this rain just to call us over? Couldn't he have just called us on the telephone? Oh well, maybe sometimes part of a certain servant's duty is to go against common sense.
なんとなくお腹が空いてきた頃だったしね。行こうか。
George Aniki turned off the television and stood up.
俺はとっくにペコペコ。本家の晩餐は毎回凝ってるしな。それに郷田さん、子牛のステーキとか言ってなかったっけ？たまらねえぜ。
親族会議の日は特に豪華になるしな。私だって楽しみだぜ。行こう行こう。
As we left the room, Kanon-kun bowed silently and respectfully.
じゃあ行こうぜ。外の振りはだいぶひどいだろう。
はい。お召し物を濡らさぬよう十分ご注意ください。
After seeing the three of us out, Kanon-kun peered into the empty room.
マリア様はいらっしゃいませんか？
一緒じゃないぜ。ローザおばさんと一緒じゃないのかよ。
Rosa, lying on a sofa in the empty parlor, had fallen asleep at some point. She was bearing a burden on her shoulders that the children could never even imagine. Therefore, when she let herself relax, that exhaustion quickly led her into the world of sleep. Realizing this, Genji brought a blanket over to her. When he tried to spread it over her, her eyes snapped open as though she had received an electric shock.
ありがとう。源氏さんなのね。
When she realized that the thing that had touched her was just a blanket and that Genji had been considerately giving it to her, she let out a sigh of relief.
起こしてしまいましたか。失礼いたしました。
いえ、いいの。寝るつもりじゃなかったから。今は何時なの？
Asked for the time, Genji checked a pocket watch that he took out of his chest pocket.
6時を少し過ぎたところです。
Rosa gave her head a little shake as she realized that even though it had felt like she had slept for a long time, not much time had actually passed. Even though she didn't feel rested at all, the drowsiness that wrapped around her felt very deep.
ありがとう。毛布は結構よ。変な時間に眠っちゃダメね。すっかり時間の感覚が狂っちゃったわ。雨、とうとう降り出したのね。
Rosa finally realized that the peaceful sound that had put her to sleep was actually the rain that had started falling.
風もだいぶ出てるよね。いよいよ台風なのかしら。
そのようにテレビでは申しております。遅い台風だそうで、明日いっぱいはこんな調子だそうです。
そう。この素敵なバラ庭園も日中のあれが見納めだったのね。
Okay, so you're thinking of the garden, you're thinking of the rain, the typhoon, you're not thinking my daughter's out there? No? From the window, what she could see of the rose garden was completely blurred by the wind and the rain.
マリア。そうだ。マリアは？
私はお見かけしておりませんが、ゲストハウスにお戻りではないでしょうか。
Rosa knew her daughter's nature well, and a chill ran up her back. Maria was stupidly straightforward to the point that stupidly could be repeated 7 times, and if she was ordered to find something that didn't exist, she would look forever and ever, even if rain was pouring down.
違うわ。いとこの子たちは先に行ってしまったから、あそこにはマリア一人。あの子は誰かにもうやめろと言われない限り、たとえ槍が降ってこようとあそこに居続けるわ。傘もささずに。私は感情に任せてなんてことを。
As her mother, she had known about Maria's foolish straightforwardness better than anyone, yet she had once again lost control of her emotions and done such a horrible thing. Rosa pushed Genji away and ran down the hallway. The outside really looked like a typhoon and was pouring down magnificently. Maybe because of some figure of the terrain, the winds were not as strong as a typhoon, so an umbrella wouldn't be torn out of one's hands. Even so, it was enough to call it a storm. There was no time to admire the roses being soaked by the rain.
とりあえず今はマリアが気になるぜ。まさかあの後もずっと一人でへそ曲げてあそこでバラ探しをしてるなんてことはないよな。
そうだね。さすがにこの雨じゃと思いたいところだけど、マリアちゃんはたまにすごく頑固でものすごく愚直な時がある。
We hadn't worried much, thinking that Auntie Rosa had taken her back to the mansion. However, it was concerning that Kanon-kun had thought that Maria was here when he came from the mansion to call us.
お屋敷ではお見かけしませんでしたので、てっきりこちらにおられるとばかり。ローザ様は仮眠を取られておいででしたので。
ここに来る途中に見かけなかったのかよ。
申し訳ございません。傘を差し急ぎ駆け抜けたもので、そこまでの注意を払いませんでした。
If he had cut through the rose garden on the shortest line between the mansion and the guest house, then he would have missed the place where Maria had been looking for her rose by a little. And it was raining this hard too. There was a good chance that Kanun-kun had failed to notice her.
ここで議論するより直接確かめる方が早いさ。兄貴、ちょいとかけっこと行こうじゃねえかよ。
6年成長したから僕に勝てるつもりかい？よし、決着をつけようじゃないか。行こう。
George, Aniki, and I flew out into the rain. Jessica and Kanun-kun followed us.
マリアー！いるなら返事をしなさい！マリアー！
ローザおばさんだ。おばさん！
When George Aniki called back, Auntie Rosa flew at him in what almost amounted to a tackle.
マリアはどこ？ジョージ君たちと一緒じゃないの？
いえ、僕たちはあの後マリアちゃんには出会ってません。
6 years ago, Maria had been 3 years old. She had been a cute and pure kid who would just accept whatever anyone said. But 6 years had passed since then. She was 9 now, and experiencing the good and bad parts of life should have taught her something. And yet she's still just as innocent and pure as she used to be.
Maria!
As I circled the rosebed, something white unexpectedly turned to face me. It was a white umbrella. Maria, holding a white umbrella, was crouching, still searching for that rose. Her face, which had turned bright red from her crying her eyes out, was dirtied with water and mud. It was a truly pitiful sight.
お前、まだ探してたのか。
見つからない。マリアのバラ、見つ
Maria had probably been here since the rain had started pouring down. It looked like her shoulders were freezing. She looked tired to the bone, but fortunately, since she was holding an umbrella, she was not completely soaked. It was probably an umbrella from the handbag that Maria was always walking around with. Thank goodness. Seriously, thank goodness.
バトラ君、よかった。見つけたんだね。
マリアー！ごめんなさい。本当にごめんなさい。
Auntie Rosa threw her own umbrella away and hugged Maria.
ない。マリアのバラがない。
後でママも一緒に探してあげるからね。だから今日はお預けにしなさい。ね。
今日はお預け。
It looked like Maria still wasn't able to accept it, but she no longer had enough energy left to resist. Jessica and Kanun-kun caught up with us.
すぐにお屋敷でタオルの用意をさせましょう。
マリア、ずっとここにいたのか。
ごめんね。本当に悪いままでごめんね。
ローザおばさん、とりあえずお屋敷に行きましょう。このままじゃマリアちゃん風邪をひいちゃう。
そうね。マリア、行きましょう。ちゃんときれいにしないとおじい様に怒られちゃうわよ。
お腹すいた。
もう食事の時間だぜ。マリアはよく頑張ったよ。天気が良くなったら私たちも一緒に探してやるから。
We couldn't stay in the rain forever. We took Maria with us as we headed back to the mansion. Maria apparently wasn't as weak as I had thought. When she remembered the dinner was calf steak, she started chanting, "I'm hungry, hungry, ooh, ooh," and returned to her usual healthy self. Auntie Rosa didn't chide Maria on her ooh, ooh.
そっか。傘を持っていたのか。さすがマリアは物持ちがいいぜ。
マリア、傘なんか持ってない。
なんだよ。じゃあその手に持ってる白い傘はどうしたんだよ。
Oh my god.
貸してもらっ
It seemed that some caring person had brought her an umbrella. A normal girl would look for shelter once it started raining, but there was no way Maria's stubbornness would be broken by something like that. So maybe that person gave up recommending that she find shelter and at least brought an umbrella for her.
そう。その人にお礼を言わないとね。誰？
Why do I have a certain feeling about this? Of course. The name that Maria mentioned very happily was that of the island's witch. No need to thank me. Oh, Bea. Rosa took a deep breath and asked again, trying to avoid hurting Maria's feelings now that she was happy.
そう。よかったわね。それで、誰なの？傘を持ってきてくれた人は。
おお、ベアといい子。
Sorry, I kinda fumbled that, but okay. Maria, who quickly picked up that her mother didn't believe her, made an angry face once again. So Rosa stopped pursuing the subject. It looked like it would be faster to ask the person who had lent Maria the umbrella during dinner rather than ask Maria herself. He's not gonna come.
せめて晩餐にだけは出席してください。これでは親族会議になりません。
Along with the dull pounding on the door, the sound of Krauss's entreaty could be heard. However, that voice seemed to harbor a sense of resignation that its sound would not reach its intended ears.
金蔵さん、せめて夕食くらいは出んかね。あんたの顔を見ようと息子さんたちが集まってきてるんじゃないか。
黙れ南條。ビショップが聞かぬか。言って足りぬ。
Apparently, Kinzo was completely focused on the final battle of his long-lasting chess match with Nanjo. His brow wrinkled, he continued to glare at the game board through his spectacles. Krauss's voice didn't reach his ears.
金蔵さん、私も腹が減った。下に降りて食事をせんか。
ならばお前だけで行くといい。私はもうしばらくこの一手を吟味させてもらうぞ。今夜で決着をつけてやる。さもなくばお前との決着は金輪際つけられそうにないからな。
Nanjo stood from his seat, hoping this would prompt Kinzo to do the same, but Kinzo's eyes never left the chessboard. He knew well that Kinzo always displayed a blind concentration when it came to chess, but he had never seen Kinzo as focused as he was now. He was acting almost as though, just as he had said, if the game wasn't finished tonight, there would never be another chance for them to continue the contest. Further attempts to persistently call him would surely not reach his heart. Nanjo gave up and headed to the door that Krauss was still banging on. The door to the study opened. Krauss took a step back. Surely Kinzo hadn't actually come out. But it was Nanjo who stood at the door. Krauss breathed a sigh of relief.
南條先生、親父殿は
お役に立てなくて申し訳ございませんな。今や金蔵さんの世界はこの部屋だけです。
Nanjo shook his head with a completely defeated expression. Krauss raised his fist once more and banged on the door, shouting.
お父さん、聞こえますか？私たちは下へおりますが、気が向かれたらいつでもおいでください。息子兄弟一同、ずっとお待ちしておりますよ。
The voice was very loud, and the door was being noisily pounded on. There was no way that it wouldn't reach Kinzo's ears. It was reaching him. However, he was ignoring it anyway. However, unlike the time he was being called down for lunch, he did not get into a rage. Kinzo was now simply calm at heart, and it was almost as though he had attained peace by turning himself over to fate.
晩餐にも息子たちの顔にも興味はない。私がここを出るのはベアトリーチがよみがえる時か、私が鍵の生贄に選ばれた時だけだ。もう悪魔のルーレットは回っている。 今さら晩餐に何の意味があろ
う。As though the painfully loud banging on the door had completely failed to enter his hearing, Kinzo, in a state of total peace, silently thought about his next chess move. I guess it's time to get hungry now. Just as always, Kinzo was the only one missing from the dining hall. Krauss, wearing a bitter smile, returned with Nanjo.
親父殿は相変わらずご気分が優れられないそうだ。年に一度の親族が集まるこの機会に同席できないことを非常に残念がられておられた。
Eva and Rudolf snickered. Judging by Kinzo's character, he didn't regret it at all, and none of his relatives regretted that he hadn't appeared either.
ではディナーを始めようじゃないか。ゴーダ、始めたまえ。
かしこまりました。それでは始めさせていただきます。
Upon finally being told to begin the family conference dinner, his highlight scene for the whole year, Goda nodded, grinning broadly.
マリアに傘を貸してくれた人は誰かしら?
When Rosa timidly cut through the silence of the dining hall, everyone there turned their attention to her at once.
傘? 何の話?
さっきマリアがバラ庭園にいた時に雨が降り出して誰かに白い傘を借りたみたいなんだけど、お礼が言いたくて。
俺たちじゃねえぜ。ローザが出てった後は部屋を移してずっと仲良くおしゃべりをしてたからな。
はは、そうやで。あの後も兄弟で仲良くおしゃべりをしとったのや。
Friendly chat. The word friendly fell awkwardly from Hideyoshi's lips, so that even those that hadn't been there realized that it hadn't been a pleasant conversation.
少なくとも私とエヴァとルドルフと、あと秀吉さんとキリエさんではないことも確かだが。
私たちは夏日姉さんとローザさんが出て行った後もずっと一緒だったわ。食事の時間までずっとね。
兄さんは源氏さんと一緒にお父様を呼びに上の書斎へ。私たちはそのまま食堂へ直行したもの。だから私たちではないわね。傘を貸すなんて親切、使用人の誰かじゃないの？
じゃあ、ゴーダさん？
私はずっと厨房で準備をしておりましたもので、申し訳ございません。
Goda looked slightly disappointed about missing this chance to show off. At that time, Shannon and Kumasawa appeared, pushing a serving cart loaded with hors d'oeuvres.
じゃあ、熊沢さんかシャノンちゃんかしら?
I hate pronouncing that word, it's so annoying. Then perhaps it was Kumasawa-san or Shannon-chan. We know where Shannon was. I don't know about Kumasawa.
何か粗相がございましたでしょうか?
Shannon shrunk, mistakenly thinking that she was being accused of making some error, having come in part way.
違うよ。マリアちゃんがバラ庭園に一人でいた時に雨が降ってきてね。誰かが傘を貸してくれたんだよ。ローザおばさんがその人にお礼を言いたいって言うのさ。
ああ、ベアトリーチェ。
Maria, her mouth a thin line, said the witch's name in a small voice. Auntie Rosa explained the situation one more time. As she did, Kumasawa-san cackled. Of course she did.
私たちでもございませんよ。私もシャノンさんも一緒にお部屋の準備をしておりましたから、お外には出ておりません。
Well, there you go. It was bad, teacher.
気が利かなくてすみません。
部屋の準備とは何のことかね。
この雨ですから、客人の皆さんがゲストハウスにお帰りになられるのも大変かと思って、使用人たちに屋敷内の客室の準備をするように命じたのです。
あら、気が利くじゃない。そうね。この雨の中、表に追い出すのは失礼だものね。
もう予算か。
はい。奥様からそのようにご指示を受けまして、私と熊沢さんとカノン君の3人で準備をしておりました。そして、ご夕食の時間になり、 源氏様からゲストハウスのお子様方をお呼びするようご指示をいただいたため、カノン君が言ってくれたのです。
ええ。ですから、カノンさんがゲストハウスに行かれるときに、マリアさんを見つけて、傘をお渡ししたのではありませんか？
ほー、違う！
The person who had actually received the umbrella denied it. Rosa was troubled. All she wanted to do was give a word of thanks to the person who had lent the umbrella, but she couldn't find them. And she had thought that asking like this with everyone gathered for dinner would work immediately.
じゃあ、夏日姉さん？
ごめんなさい。私は皆さんとの仲良くの語らいの後、頭痛がひどかったので、自分の部屋で休んでいました。ですから、表へは出ていません。
なら、誰なの？ジョージ君たち？なわけないわよね。
いえ、僕たちじゃありません。僕たちはずっとゲストハウスでテレビを見てました。
むしろ私たちは、マリアはおばさんと一緒に屋敷に行ったとばかり。
Natsuki emoji, yeah, she's perpetually in that state.
そこへカノン君が来て、マリアは一緒じゃないのかと聞いたんで、初めて屋敷にはいないのかって分かったんだよ。第一俺だったら、傘を貸すより先に、手引っ張って屋根の下に連れて行くぜ。
Rosa was completely baffled. One by one, the relatives and the servants were claiming that it wasn't them. Even though it really wasn't something anyone would need to hide. With that, by process of elimination, the number of people it could have been wasn't large.
もちろん、私でもありませんな。雨が降り始めてすぐの頃、金蔵さんの部屋を訪ねて、ついさっきまで一緒にチェスをしておりました。
ということは、おじい様でもないよね。
なんだなんだ、妙な話になってきたぜ。あと残るのは誰だ？
じゃあ、誰？源氏さん？ちょっと待って。勘違いしないでくれる？別に、私は何かの犯人探しをしてるんじゃないのよ。雨の中のマリアに傘を差し伸べてくれた人に、母としてお礼が言いたいだけなの。
Giving an umbrella to a girl loitering in the rain was something to be praised, not hidden. Despite that, no one raised their hand. Why? Everyone started whispering about how strange this had gotten.
落ち着けよ、ローザ。傘を借りた本人に聞けばいいじゃねえか。
An idea that everyone would agree makes sense. They were all scratching their heads at why she didn't just ask Maria, who had been given the umbrella. However, Rosa bit her lower lip. After all, she already knew how Maria would answer if asked.
どうりや。ルドルフ君の言う通りやないか。マリアちゃん、おじさんに教えてえな。マリアちゃんに傘を貸してくれたのは誰や？
ベアトリーチェ。
The dining hall was wrapped in silence for an instant, but that soon broke, and it was wrapped in laughter.
なるほど。森の魔女ベアトリーチェが不憫に思って傘を貸してくれたか。いい話じゃないかね。ローザ、そういうことだ。
Rosa didn't seem satisfied. She just wanted to say thanks for the umbrella. Why did everything have to be so clouded in smoke?
クラウスおじさんの言う通り、ベアトリーチェが貸してくれたの。
それはよかった。無垢だというのは実に羨ましいことではないか。なあ、諸君。
Krauss was laughing with a face that was clearly mocking her. But Maria, apparently feeling that her claim was being believed, was overjoyed.
一体どうなってんの？まさか本当に魔女が現れて傘を貸したってのかよ。
Jessica asked me in a small voice that wouldn't carry over to Maria, who was sitting across from me.
マリアって冗談が言えるタイプだっけ？
If we had heard that kind of story pop out of that old bastard's mouth, we'd have just taken it as another joke. However, coming from Maria's mouth, it became somewhat inexplicable, strangely unsettling.
いや、昔から愚直なぐらい正直で真面目だよ。普通なら聞いただけで嘘とわかるような冗談すら鵜呑みにするタイプだぜ。マリアから冗談を言い出すなんて聞いたこともない。
Auntie Rosa probably knew that better than anyone. It appeared that because of this weird situation, she had no idea what was going on anymore.
じゃあ、マリアがベアトリーチェに傘を借りたと言ったなら、それは間違いなくベアトリーチェなのか。
マリアに関してだけは何かの比喩とか冗談とかそういうことは考えられねえぜ。額面通りの意味だと思うべきだろうよ。
じゃあなんだよ。源氏さんあたりがあの肖像画のごついドレスを着てマリアに傘を持って行ってやったっていうのか。
そんなことは知らねえぜ。私が聞きたいくらいさ。
Jessica shrugged jokingly, but her expression wasn't completely joking. Once the hors d'oeuvre, there it is, were set out and Goda showed off his vast store of knowledge, the meal began. A couple casual chats broke out here and there, but they seemed somehow distant. It was a quiet dinner, granting no respite from the intrusive sound of rain that was creeping into the dining hall. Kumasawa and Shannon, pushing the serving cart, ran into Genji and Kanon on their way to the kitchen.
源氏さんですか？マリア様に傘を貸されたのは。
傘？何のことだ？
はい。雨が降り出した時に、マリア様は一人でバラ庭園におられたそうで、そこでどなたかに傘をお借りになったそうなのですが、それがどなたかわからないのです。
僕じゃないよ。マリア様はゲストハウスにいると思ってたくらいだからね。バトラ様が最初に見つけられた時にはもう白い傘をお持ちだった。
申し訳ないが、それは私でもない。
じゃあまさか親方様でしょうか。
Everyone in both the dining hall and the place where they were standing now had stated that it wasn't them, which meant that only Kinzo was left. But
何かのご用で廊下を歩かれているとき、偶然バラ庭園に傘もささないマリア様が見えたとか。
親方様はマリア様のことをあまりお好きではない。
同感だね。親方様がマリア様のために直々に開花までお越しになって傘をお持ちくださるとは考えられないよ。
あら、困りましたわね。
What a mystery.
では、マリア様に傘をお貸しになられたのは、本当にベアトリーチェ様ってことに
Kumasawa laughed just like the relatives in the dining hall had laughed it off. She couldn't think of any other way to break through the smoke veiling of the current situation. Just then, the crisp sound of hands clapping twice rang through the hallway. They all turned around at once to see that it was Goda who was coming out of the dining hall.
さあさあ皆さん、ディナーは配膳のタイミングも大事です。すぐにスープの配膳に取り掛かってください。源氏さん、彼女らは大切なお仕事中ですので、お引き止めになられないでください。
Canon glared at Goda for being rude to Genji, a person Canon respected. Genji, realizing this, patted Canon once on the shoulder as if to warn him. Canon reluctantly turned away and turned his expression to normal.
ゴーダの指示に従いなさい。今は晩餐の配膳を急ぐように。
ほらほら、時間がありません。タラタラしない。急ぎますよ。
Goda grabbed the serving cart from Shannon and drove it past her, heading toward the kitchen at pace.
では、私どもも厨房に戻らせていただきます。ゴーダさんも気の短い方ですからね。
I love the way she laughs.
私もこれで失礼いたします。
Oh man, Kumasawa and Shannon left. Only Genji and Kanon remained. Through the window, the darkness of the rainy night could be seen, along with the occasional thunderbolt.
源氏様、ベアトリーチェ様が本当にお戻り。
わからん。
親方様にお知らせしますか。
せずともよい。本当にお戻りになられたなら、やがておのずと親方様の前へ現れよう。
They are in on something.
それに、あれは気まぐれなお方。親方様にご報告申し上げたところで、お姿。
親方様の儀式はすでに始まっているということでしょうか。
Sorry. When they take long pauses, I'm inclined to believe they finish saying their stuff and I hit the button.
おそらく。
So I interrupted Genji there, my bad.
だがそれは、我ら家具には何の関わりもないこと。親方様に受けたご恩を、最後の瞬間までお返しするのみだ。
はい。それが僕たち家具の務めです。
The thunder crashed once more. Except for that instant when the lightning lit up the sky, all that could be seen out of the window was the darkness of night. Just as humans rule when the sun is up, the time when the sun is down is ruled by those that are not human. Alright, I think that might be a good spot to leave it for tonight. It's a good sentence to end the stream on. We'll see where this leads next time. There we are. Oh yeah, now I see the little chapter names. Arrival, guest house, epitaph of the portrait, letter and umbrella. Let's see. Yeah, thanks for joining. Let me do the usual here. Yes. Closed. Here I am. Yay, the light stayed red throughout the stream. Feels good. Good night, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. It's always nice to have you around, and yeah, go through the stuff together. You know, banter a little bit in chat, or just you know, be creeped out together. A lot to take in this time. Yeah, it's getting interesting. It's getting there. Let's see how it evolves next time. Yep. All is good. And obviously, it's good that finally Beatrice is actually being mentioned as more than just a fantastical being, but an actual character that might be roaming around, because, you know, it's taking a while to have her properly introduced into the story. I would assume that should happen eventually, so I'm looking forward to it, and to the build up there, and to, you know, just everything else that happens. I am very much enjoying myself, and I am enjoying the pace at which the story is going. I can understand why maybe you would feel worried that it's possibly slow, but for me it's just absolutely perfect, because I get to get acquainted and accustomed to the characters and their vibe and everything, and then when something else happens that kind of like unveils an additional layer to them, I already have the previous little impression that I had on them, and then this compounded on it, and it gives me the time to just internalize everything. I think if it went at a faster pace than this, I wouldn't have the mental ability to retain all of this information. So I'm cruising. I'm loving it. Fantastical Beatrice and where to find them. Good one. Yes. Yeah. Well, for one of them, we don't have to search. She's in chat with us all the time. So, and she's the reason we're doing this right now. So I'm very grateful. Very, very grateful that I have been introduced to such a very interesting experience that I'm pretty sure will persist in being interesting and maybe even become a stronger roller coaster of stuff happening. And this is just the build up and the introduction to the context in which all of that will unfold. So I am excited, looking forward to it. Thanks so much for joining, and yeah, hope to see you around for the next streams. As usual, we will have 2 streams next week. I might move the days a bit. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know yet, because a colleague from Germany is coming to visit, and he would want to organize a dinner where like multiple of us could meet and chat and chill, and I definitely want to attend it, but I don't know when it's gonna be. Might be Tuesday, might be Wednesday, it's not set in stone, but if it's gonna be Tuesday, I'm gonna choose to be there instead, right? Then I'm gonna move the stream to another day, but I will let you know. I will announce it in Discord if that happens. So this chapter is the slowest. That's fine by me. It's fine. I'm all good. To be perfectly fair, after the days I'm having at work this week, just being like having this goal in my mind that okay, once the day is over, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna have dinner, and then I'm gonna sit down and read, and it's gonna be a cool experience that's not gonna, like, you know, stress me out or rush me along or something. It's just chef's kiss. It's perfect. I wouldn't have it any other way. So all is good. All is good. Thank you for the pets. Right. But the weekend is looming, and yeah, I hope your weeks are progressing all right, and that you will get to enjoy it. First have dinner, then read about another dinner. Well, yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, I always have dinner before streams, obviously, because that's how the timing works. And then inevitably they talk about some delicious food, and then inevitably I start craving things, even though I had dinner. Such are the ways of the stomach, I suppose. But so far in this one, they didn't go into much detail about the food. They just briefly mentioned what it was, and the story about Maria's umbrella was a bit taking more of the focus than the actual food itself. So there's none of that. So I will go to bed tranquil and without cravings of specific food, at least this time. Yeah. Right. Then thanks again for joining, guys. It's always a pleasure. We will keep doing this. I will announce if anything changes in the planning of the stream. Otherwise, it stays as it is. We will definitely have 2 streams. I will not skip them. Yeah, and until then, I will wish you a nice weekend. Take care of yourselves. Do all the nice and healthy stuff. Eat well, hydrate, take your vitamins, take walks in the sun, and so on. And hope to see you again when we do this again next week. Take care. Love you. Bye.